Thank you for coming today. And my point was just to follow up on the discussion you've just been having about your life in Corpus and how your life in Texas shaped you as a playwright. If you could maybe elaborate on that a little bit. You've touched on it some, but
How old were you when so you went from Florida to New York to Texas, right? Born in Florida?
I just simplify my life because anyone born during World War II or just before it moved around a lot.
Right. So you moved around a lot and then
I
got
just
to
say
Corpus.
I grew up in Corpus because that's where the hormones.
When did you get to Corpus?
About junior high school.
Junior high school.
Adolescence was all over.
And so it
pre-adolescence.
affected you how? To the question.
How did it affect me? I knew I wanted to get out of there. In that, no, I had the blessing,
Right.
I think blessing, of knowing I was a gay man very young and thinking it was all right. I always thought if we are created in God's image, I was raised Roman Catholic and they're not big on God's image, I am, then it's all right to be homosexual. Mm-hmm. So I didn't go around starting my own gay pride parade.
But still, you acknowledge that at that time in this place, you were definitely leading edge.
Yes, and I was sleeping with half the guys in my high school who were not homosexual. That's what adolescent boys do. They sleep with one another. It's pretty. Corpus is a sexy town. It's that Gulf climate.
May I say,
No,
said no one ever. Okay?
If you're 15 years old in that Gulf breeze at night, no one had air conditioning, it was a sexy town.
Right, well, who am I to argue with Terrence McNally? Okay.
So I saw a movie on the town. I saw all these sailors jumping out going, New York, New York. I said, that's where I'm going to live when I graduate high school. And I did.
And indeed.
And I went to New York.
And you went to Columbia, which again is no small thing and was significant, significant to you.
And this is where Mrs. McElroy, I'm sure Mrs. McElroy knew I was gay. We never discussed it, but she got me. And it's very important to be, someone gets you when you're young.
Yep.
My parents didn't get me. Someone said, no, you terrified them. You know, you were doing all these projects and doing operas in the garage.
Stuff in the garage, right? Yeah.
And, but I was cool with it, and I love the food. I love Tex-Mex. I love things about Corpus I miss physically. Sensually, I miss Corpus at times. But I always knew it was temporary. I belonged in New York, and I wanted to be in the theater. And I remember there was a puppet show, Kukla, Fran, and Ollie.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And that was very real to me. And I think it's just a gene you get. People say to me very often, not theater, opera, how do you get to love opera? I try. I said, you either like opera or you don't. I hate calf's liver. I've been forced to eat calf's liver.
You're never going to love it.
I'm never going to like the taste of it.
But born that way. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, you said that theater was your heart and plays. And I'm wondering, when you were young, did you read much literature, as in books?
Read literature, not plays.
Right, me too, me too. And then the theater has replaced not my interest at all, but my time.
Yeah. We had very little theater in Corpus Christi.
Well, we didn't have a lot in Beaumont.
We didn't have touring shows.
Yeah, Nancy's from Beaumont. But she says, hold my beer to Corpus Christi, actually.
I got to Austin as soon as I could. But they didn't have a lot of theater in the late 50s, early 60s.
In Corpus?
No, in Austin.
Austin. No, theater. We stayed in Corpus. It's pretty isolated. I got here once a year for debate society, things like that, journalism. I was a big journalist. I founded a newspaper.
Well, in fact, and you were a journalist very early in your professional life,
for a couple of years,
right?
yeah.
Right.
But
magazine guy?
I wonder how many people actually read plays when they don't have access. If they're,
Not many.
They're doing literature, they're in books.
We want our plays to be seen.
They need to come alive.
Not read.
They're hard to read. I don't enjoy really reading them. I have to, though. It's like looking at the blueprint of your new house. You want some idea of what it's going to look like, but you're not really experiencing it. You're not living in it yet.
Anybody else? Ma'am.
I'm curious if playwrights hang out with other playwrights. Like, did you ever hang out with Horton Foote?
I've met him a few times.
That's another
Didn't hang out but when my first play in New York, it was on Broadway called And Things That Go Bump in the Night, the one that wanted me dead in my cradle. He sent me a lovely note saying, I know you're from Texas. It's a hard business, but, stick in there. And John Steinbeck wrote me a note and said, if you ain't been throwed, you ain't rode. Get back on the horse. You got to have that in you to be in the theater.
I mean, if you think about that, you mentioned Steinbeck and Horton Foote. You actually had a relationship with Edward Albee.
A romantic
relationship with Edward Albee. I mean, you knew a lot of people over the course, either in professional context or personal context or both, over the years who are the big names if we think about theater in the last 50 or so years. Access to those people up close and being able to talk shop with those people must have been extraordinary and material to you as you developed as an artist.
Actually, playwrights don't talk a lot about playwriting.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's true.
So I imagine that you all would talk shop.
Yeah, we don't.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't know, because none of us really knows what we're doing.
Is that right?
I think you have a good idea for a play or you have a bad idea for a play, and it's that simple.
Yeah.
You can rewrite till you're blue in the face. If it's not a play that an audience wants to experience, you can't make it. You can improve things that are working,
right,
or you can make things worse that are already not working.
But you don't necessarily learn from one another in the course of talking through.
No one's ever said, you know what the trouble is in the second act, that you should move that to the... No, we just... We do it by instinct, I think. And we do it with collaborators. A good actor, Nathan Lane is a brilliant play editor. He'll say, I don't need this line. We don't talk about how he's going to say it, but he doesn't need it.
And you're receptive to that note.
An audience, yes, and the audience. I don't need anyone to tell me this scene is boring. The audience, you hear, these seats can make a lot of creaking sounds.
Right.
When people, even now it's silent.
Right.
But when 30 people are creaking, you hear it, and it's their fault, it's my fault.
Yeah, and you're comfortable for the feedback, and you're willing to iterate as far as it goes until you have it right.
And you know you're not going to make it, that it's just, there's something intrinsic in the material. People just don't want to.
So interesting.
Michael Bennett said that about Chorus Line. I always thought he was so right. He said the genius of Chorus Line was that I had the idea to paint a line, and that's what this play is about. Who gets to cross that line? And that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a musical about Frida Kahlo is maybe not such a good idea.
Sir.
Where did you work as a journalist, and when were you able to transition to your playwriting supporting you?
Well, I worked at Corpus Christi Caller-Times for the 4 summers I was in college. And then when I got out of Columbia, I got a job at a magazine as an editor. And I wrote a play, and someone submitted it to the Guggenheim. And I got a Guggenheim, which gave me the magnificent sum of, I think, $4,000.
It's a little more now.
Which would be the equivalent of about $400,000 now.
It's a little more now.
And I quit my job, and the second play I wrote was successful.
Yeah.
And I never had to go back to.
But think about how amazing it is to have had that. I mean, that's success of a sort.
Yes.
Right out of the gate.
Sure, but it's good luck too. Yeah. This play I wrote, if Summer Stock, Jimmy Coco. Does anyone remember the actor James Coco?
Coco, of course. Yeah.
He was doing a play there.
Right.
The producer came running down the hill. They've just canceled the next play. It's going right to Broadway. Jimmy said, I have a play someone wrote for me. The play was written by Elaine May. She said, I've read it too and I want to direct it. Suddenly I'm off my magazine job, having a play done.
Elaine May is directing it and James Coco is acting.
He was nobody then.
Right.
She was what's going to happen to Elaine May because she broke up with Mike Nichols. He went on to film, and Elaine was stranded. But that's luck. Being in the right, but the play had to be written. He had to hand it to her that night. So that's called good luck.
Yeah. I thought the James Coco part of the American Masters thing was also kind of great, because it's easy to forget. It's a long time ago.
Yeah, and
his success as an actor in many ways, again, breadcrumbs.
And he was someone I saw, and I said, I want to write for that man. He's a genius. He's been in 20 plays a year, and no one noticed him.
And you knew it. Nathan Lane, you mentioned Nathan Lane. You knew Nathan Lane, that you heard him do
I knew he heard me.
You knew it. I thought the best story was that Murray Abraham.
Yeah.
That Murray Abraham basically talked his way into an audition at the end of a long day.
He sat in the lobby waiting to audition for at least 14 hours. We kept saying, we don't audition actors who don't have an appointment through an agent. You can't wander in the street and audition for this play.
Right.
He said, I'm not going anywhere. 8 o'clock that night,
Yeah.
stage manager said, he's still there, that crazy guy.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to kill us. He read one sentence, the part yours.
And you knew it.
Where have you been all my life?
Yeah. Again, I would encourage people, this is not yet aired. It has it not aired, the American Masters? It's kind of about to air.
I think it's airing this week.
I think
for
it's
Gay
airing this
Pride
week. If you've not, it's just, it's perfect. Anything else?
Good.
Let's have these last two be the last two. Ma'am.
Oh, just real quickly. You've written about a lot of social issues over the years, whether Vietnam or homosexuality, and I'm just curious of the issues that we see today. What do you want to write about now?
Diversity.
Diversity. What about
And
diversity?
The one I still would like to challenge myself writing is more about racism in this country, how invasive it is, and that's a scary subject to me and a very, very difficult one.
It's popped
I'd
back
like
up into the viewfinder in a very alarming way,
Yeah,
is it not?
yeah. But I love what's happening in the theater, the diversity that was really just happening in the past few years and really celebrated at the Tonys Sunday night. I think that's thrilling. But I think this whole world we're at a very thrilling time to write about. That doesn't mean it's the best of all possible worlds.
But it's
boy,
interesting
when
as
someone
hell,
says,
yeah, right.
I don't know what to write about, duh, wake up, smell the coffee, go out on the street, talk to somebody.
Yeah, I agree. Ma'am.
We're going to see your play at the ZAC in a few weeks.
Good.
And I'm very curious, though. My tickets say Fire and Air,
Yes.
but yet we're seeing Immortal Longings.
Right. I changed it. Fire and Air is a thoroughly rewritten version of a play we did just about a year ago in New York. So it's part of its development. And people kept calling it Fire and Ice. It's driving me crazy. And I said, I've done so much work on the play. I think it deserves a new title. From the same part of Antony and Cleopatra, give me my robe, put on my crowns, I have immortal longings in me, and I thought it just fit. But it's essentially a new play.
That does sound like the name of one of your plays, I have to say. Immortal Longing
Yeah,
sounds like a Terrence McNally play.
Well, I didn't like Fire and Ice. It was Fire and Air.
Fire, I think I
And
said
they could
Air.
say, I want to see
think I said-
Fire and Air.
Good, okay.
You know.
But thank you. I was
But I
curious.
hope you
about
enjoy it.
Good to be with you.
Likewise.
Thank you. I'm so happy to see you and appreciate your time. Very generous of
All
you to
right.
be here. Good.
Appreciate you.
Give Terrence
Well,
McNally a big hand.